I spent 30 years doing the same thing and 30 years looking for difference. And I guess that's perhaps the beautiful thing about creating a physical language which is in constant evolution. Oh, you're there now. You got the wolf in? I'm a choreographer and I'm here at my studio, Studio Wayne McGregor, in Here East in the Olympic Park in London. It is like a blank canvas. And for us, what was important about what was the function and purpose of the building, and the building was about inspiration first and foremost, and it was about creating state-of-the-art studios that really supported the practice of artistic engagement, right? And really supported the practice of dance making in the most wonderful way. And I think a dance space is a state of sanctuary in some way, right? I think you have to create a safe space, both for yourself to be able to be creatively free and vulnerable in that experience, but also it's a space of interpersonal relationships. And I guess it's also a space we share, you know, it's not just my creative space, it's a space for other artists to come in. And as importantly, it's really for young people to come in who perhaps have never touched dance or never been in creative spaces before to explore and play inside. You know, dance making is an act of play. You know, dance needs room. You need room to be able to travel. You need room to be able to explore. You need height. And one of the things that's interested me about studios I've been in the past is a ballet bar all the way around. There are mirrors. There's a lot of kind of like visual occlusion, visual noise, I call it. And I knew that when I wanted to build a studio that I wanted to remove that visual noise. I wanted a much cleaner, clearer space to work in, from which you can fill it hopefully with meaning and interaction and choreographic ideas and explore. For example, going up these stairs and going into this incredible white studio, which is almost like a kind of, it could be a blank canvas or it could be a spaceship. And you're going, gosh, I've got this empty space just to start. How do I start? How do I begin? What is the beginning? Beginning is so often the hardest thing to do. You really start with nothing, only the body's in the room. And the first thing you have to do is develop the physical language for that piece, which is pertinent to the world that you're trying to create. But then, of course, what fascinates me is how technique and how physicality has changed over the 30 years that I've been making. There's been a kind of a concentration on dance practices which allow for a much more liquid kind of like physical state, so not such a shape-oriented physical form. So dancers can morph between very graphic physical shapes and more kind of like felt, more liquid, more mercurial physicality. And this is really exciting because your bandwidth then is much, much greater. But what they want to do is explore their state of equilibrium. What they want to do is explore their extension or their reach. What they want to explore is what are their degrees of freedom when they're working with another body or several other bodies. From a product point of view is not the thing I'm interested in. I'm interested in the process and in the process of what you find out. Because without all of that seed of experimentation, you never get anywhere that really, really connects with audiences or connects with people. I personally always go into a slump after a major performance, partly because energetically I'm just so exhausted, but also partly because you can't help but immediately look back at the thing that you've made and be dissatisfied with it. And I wonder if that's the thing that keeps you going. Maybe that dissatisfaction is the thing that keeps that artistic flame alight. Maybe it's the disappointment in yourself that is the thing that just keeps you moving forwards. And that's how I frame it for myself. And then a couple of days later, I'm back in the studio ready to go again.